My name's Adam and this is Cattle Dog Rod. What's up everybody? Adam here with Cattle Dog Garage. I'd like to thank everybody that recently subscribed. And also, if you see this, I really thank you too, Bill. I appreciate what you did. You guys just simply hitting that subscribe button has put me on a path of financial freedom and of financial stability, and also given me an opportunity to provide you guys with better and more entertaining content. So once again, I thank you guys. This video is going to be about tuning an engine with your senses, and I'm going to go over a little bit of carburetor function. So let's get on with the video. All right, I'm going to be going over how you tune with your senses, and I'm going to be going over the functions of these two carburetors also. I'm going to be using these as an example. This is a 4777 Holley double pumper that I had laying around, and this is a Street Demon 750 that came off my flatbed. It's like a hybrid between a thermal quad and a Edelbrock. I'm going to be going over these two carburetors with the assumption that if you're watching this, you probably have a little bit of understanding on how to jet a carburetor. So I'm going to be going over the functions that are a little less understood. I'll try to make this as simple and as fast as possible. When you're tuning with your senses, you need to only address one issue at a time, and then you test. If it gets better or if it stays the same, make another small adjustment and test again. What I normally do is I make changes and test until the issue's either tuned out or until the tune changes, and then I back it to where it was perfect, so you know the limit of the optimization for the engine's tune. A lot of times you have to make multiple changes and test multiple times to optimize the engine's tune. So don't change too many things at one time or you'll just end up lost and confused, and you might even hurt the engine. Then you'd have to start right back at square one. You'll have to smell your exhaust, you'll have to look at your exhaust, you'll have to pay attention to the sounds. Most importantly, you'll have to pay attention to how it feels and how it acts. If you have an air-fuel ratio gauge, don't always believe the air-fuel ratio gauge. If you don't know how to read spark plugs, you should learn how, because the spark plug don't lie. The air-fuel ratio gauge doesn't know what the engine wants, but the spark plug will tell you exactly what the engine wants or needs as far as air fuel and timing. We're going to go over the carburetors now. So when you're driving at light throttle, typically you're running on the idle circuit, well, part of the idle circuit and the main circuit. When you open the throttle further, you're solely on the main circuit. Beyond the main circuit, you start to activate the power valve, which is this, or the step-up springs for an Edelbrock or the Street Demon. Both the power valve and the step-up springs are both vacuum activated. When the vacuum's high in the power valve sucked closed. And I don't know what this one's rated for. I'll say this is an 8. So once the vacuum drops below 8 inches, it opens and allows the enrichment to come through the channel restrictors. And the same principle here. This piston goes in a bore, spring goes inside the piston. Vacuum, it's sucked down, lifts up when the vacuum goes away. And then this here, this end, the diameter is smaller at the end here than it is right here. So when it's down all the way, it's plugging the hole more, not letting as much fuel through. And when it lifts up, you get more enrichment. Both of these give the main circuit enrichment, which means more fuel. When the vacuum drops below the rated inches of vacuum, like I had just said. The power valve or step-up springs have an effect on when the engine becomes under load. We'll say you have like a 4.5 power valve or step-up springs. And when driving down the road, you smash the throttle and you get a big hesitation, then it comes alive. You're going to need to step up to a power valve or step-up spring that opens sooner. Say probably one rated at 6 or 8 inches of vacuum. Now the next form of enrichment in that circuit, power valve, when it opens, it allows fuel. The channel restrictors are these little holes here. Those meter the fuel that are allowed to go through. And then this actually sits and it plugs part of the main jet on this carburetor. That's why these main jets are a lot bigger than the standard ones. But when it's sitting down, because this, here I'll show you real quick. See, those are the main jets. And when the metering rods are inside there, they're partially plugging up the main jet. And like I said, when the vacuum drops, the metering rod goes up, allowing more fuel to go through. And both of these are another way to fine-tune the transfer between the main circuit and the secondary circuit. A lot of times people who don't know how to properly tune the power valve and the channel restrictors will often just take the power valve out, block this off, and then just jet up the main circuit 4 to 8 jet size, which results in a rich main circuit inefficiencies like bad mileage and loss of horsepower. And then we're going to go to the accelerator pump, which is this right here, or in this case right here. The accelerator pump gives a shot of fuel. It's usually around 30 to 50 cc's for enrichment when the throttle's hit. And without the accelerator pump, the engine would go lean every time you hit the gas. The accelerator pump provides a certain volume of fuel to what's called the discharge nozzle. This is the discharge nozzles for that. And then that's a discharge nozzle right here. Yeah, and there's, I don't know if you can see that discharge, that's an anti-pullover discharge nozzle. The discharge nozzle controls the rate at which the fuel is discharged. For example, if you have like a 32 discharge nozzle, that will allow more fuel to be discharged at a higher rate than a 28 nozzle. And then you got, we got accelerator pump cams, the next thing. I don't know if, yeah, there's one right here. I didn't know if this damn thing had one or not. Accelerator pump cam. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. Accelerator pump cam. And then this doesn't have an accelerator pump cam. This is just holes. Just holes on the side. And that one gives you the quickest shot, second quickest, and that's the slowest shot. The accelerator pump cam has an effect at the rate at which the accelerator pump sends fuel to the discharge nozzle. And then you get into your secondary. I don't have the secondary adjustment on this one. But this secondary adjustment here is vacuum. You put a screwdriver in there, hold this with a wrench, turn it, and then adjust the tension of a spring inside that allows this flap to just flap on open. This thing's actually a 3-barrel. your secondaries are out of adjustment and you smash the gas and it hesitates or pops or backfires through the carb, your secondaries are opening too soon. All right, we're gonna move on to the boosters now, which are these. You'd actually do modifications to these around the top rim and get rid of that about 25 thousandths ridge right there, or lip, I would say, from the casting process. You can also do modifications on the bottom of them for fuel shearing, but that's a little deeper than I want to go right now. And then these are the boosters on this one. These are what they call triple stack boosters. Boosters work on the principle of the Venturi effect. When air passes through the minor diameter of the Venturi, it speeds up. When this happens, you get a pressure drop. As the air expands in the exit area of the Venturi, it slows and a pressure recovery takes place. Sorry, I couldn't talk. The greater the airflow through the Venturi, the greater the pressure drop at the minor Venturi, which is the bottom. The volume of air flowing through the Venturi actually depends on the suction. The right booster choice depends on your goal. For low speed output, you want the best booster strength per CFM. For example, let's say you have like a stock 350 with like pocket ported heads and a decent intake and headers, and say it's got a stock 650 carb on it, and say you put a 850 on it, a stock 850 anyway, with high gain boosters on it, you'll see better results with the stock 650 than the stock 850, and the difference will be probably about 20 foot-pounds down low. The bigger the carb size becomes, the more critical the booster design becomes if the carb is to operate within the whole RPM range. And if it's a race engine, things are a little different there, because you can actually have a booster that delivers an atomized charge that's actually too fine. And the finely atomized charge vaporizes and turns into gas, and it takes up more room and reduces the volumetric efficiency of the induction system. Though the vaporized fuel actually displays the best combustion characteristics, it actually takes optimum droplet size to make maximum horsepower. There are actually lots of things that influence what happens after the fuel leaves the booster. The most important being the fuel staying in suspension and the induction system temperature. Simply, this means the cooler the intake charge becomes, the more finely atomized the charge needs to be. And this is where the air bleeds come into play. The air bleeds emulsify the charge, or in normal terms, they mix the air and fuel. The larger the air bleed, the leaner the atomized charge will be. And the opposite, the smaller the air bleed, it'll produce a richer atomized charge. Air bleeds allow you to actually tune the shape of the fuel curve. Typically, adjustments like that are actually more left to people that actually know what they're doing, really know what they're doing. Now, for you to learn all this stuff and to be able to differentiate and tune one symptom and its cause from another symptom with a different cause, that'll take time. You'll have to get a thorough understanding of the mystery that is the carburetor. I think I've about covered all the stuff that people don't typically understand. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, ring the bell. Cattle Dog Garage, out.